Waiting to see some numbers there, guys. Why is this not working now? Alright. Good afternoon, internet family. Hope y'all are having a good day. For some reason, my laptop just stopped working. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Okay, so today we are doing history. Peace story. I'm prepared. Fair warning. Alright, so we got one cool thing. I don't know if you guys recognize this or not. For those of you who are on TikTok, they have now added the new section that I was talking about last week about the short-term learning or live learning. It's called STEM. And if you are on TikTok on your phone, you look at the top of it and it'll have STEM all the way to the left-hand side. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at it on the computer. It should be on there somewhere where you can do STEM learning there now, which is, I think, super cool. I think your education is probably one of the things that you probably dump the most money into, but when it's everywhere around you, I don't see why it can't just be free. But I get it. Business. So, what was it doing? Oh, let me pull up the calendar real quick. See, I have all this stuff pre-done. I don't know if you guys are use any kind of calendars or planners or anything like that. Maybe you've used your phone or maybe a paper one for those of you who are ancient like myself, or your watch or some other kind of something. But I put mine into my Google Calendar, and in each one of them, I have it set up to where each tab tells me, a basic layout of what I'm doing. So, because you know me, I'll get lost. So, all right. Remember, we switched foreign languages to Mondays. I was actually going to do that today. I'm kind of torn between languages and history. I know I started off this stream with history, but I kind of got used to Monday being history for so long now. It's kind of like waking up in the morning and watching the news. It's kind of the same concept for me. So, because I don't really watch the news, I only get my news from like TikTok or local sources. So, unless I'm doing this, which I end up seeing a lot of information online that way or through ads or something. But so in my little tab, I had switched them over from history to language, so I'm not real sure. I think I'm just going to run with history again. That way I don't have to worry about it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and move over to Wednesday then, because that's the one that has history. All right. The news that we were going over, I really want you guys to think about how it makes you feel. Because, anything that we talk about in other parts of the world could be your part of the world at any point in time. So whether be it good or bad, just keep that in mind. I noticed here lately there's a lot of people talking about events that have been happening all over the world, and I've been seeing stuff online and more now than I have before, and I don't know if that's my own personal self-awareness of the world or if that's just there really is a lot of stuff going on and it's just being reported more now or something. I don't know. But it makes me feel all kinds of ways. So I'm pretty sure that causes my entire rest of the day to become one way or another emotional roller coaster kind of vibe. But I'm pretty sure that for other people it does the same thing, and we see it a lot when there's events happening, that the stress levels get elevated, and we start treating each other pretty much ugly for no reason. Um, so just try to be a little bit more compassionate for those around you. Everybody's going through a lot right now. So, um, all over the world, not just here, not just in your backyard, not just in your home or your room or in your head. There's a lot going on in the world. So just try to be a little kinder if you can. Um, I wonder what kind of advancements are going to be made after these events happen, or if there's another quarantine, or how's this affecting all of the industries? I hear a lot about specific corporations coming in and taking over a lot lately. So in all industries. So I don't know, how does it all matter now? Um, and how will it affect us in the future, going forward, not only for ourselves, but those who will be living after us. um, so, how does everything get affected by other things and people? Um, I mean, you think about something like, for example, and I know I talked about this last week and you've been probably hearing it in the news a lot, Western North Carolina getting a hurricane, and it destroyed pretty much that whole area. And that's something that we don't normally experience ever. So when it affects that area, it pulled in people from all over the surrounding areas and brought them into that area to try to help out. And so when things happen in history, you start to recognize like the human behavior behind evolution in our society and stuff. Um, uh, I'm gonna pull a quote real quick because I literally just thought of it, and it's from a movie. Um, it's a worker quote. Y'all are gonna laugh at me. If I can find it. All right. Quotes. Let's see. It's from The Fifth Element. I don't know if you guys know. That's not it. I can't remember what it's called, if it's called anything. If you guys find it before me, please let me know. This one's really just pulling up the one with the stones. Quartz, workers. No, I can't find it. Anyways, so basically he's explaining to this priest about how all of these workers are scrambling around and basically working for him and doing all this stuff for him, right? And they all serve a purpose. And I don't know, it's just the way he described it was a little bit more along the lines of like, okay, you drop a glass and now you have all of these people that are scrambling to make, to get the glass cleaned up or whatever. And it's back to the way that it is or whatever. And it just seems like when a major event happens, like that little rock in the puddle thing, all these trickle events happen afterwards, like all the ripples, and it pulls it into it. So I think it's really interesting how society works as a whole, especially when there's historical events happening. Much like there is today. So, sorry, I couldn't find that. Where was I at? What patterns do you see in history that may be repeating now or soon? And I'm going to actually add to that because there's a lot of new patterns that are happening because of the fact that society is evolving, the world is evolving. So we're starting to see more newer patterns of things happening. How can we... I don't really want to say fix the old patterns, but like correct cycles, like course correct cycles from happening or to happen. I can't type. All right. What are new patterns and how can we course correct cycles from happening or to happen? I've heard a lot of people talking. I mean, we'll probably talk about this more in a science class or something, but like certain companies like creating weather and how it affects everything and how we're dealing with it right now. And people are starting to recognize that there's some significant, like, especially weather changes. So, I don't know if you guys have noticed the ocean lately. But trying to keep an eye on, the main reason for history to be so important in the learning process for us as human beings is to understand past, present, future, so you can get a full view, full understanding of life as it is. And that way, if there are cycles that have happened in the past, that we can learn from them and possibly keep them from happening again. Or if there are cycles of negativity that are happening, that maybe we can course correct or to make it to where it has that moment of positivity. So this way things can start to change. And unfortunately, and even they speak about this, like even on the spiritual side of things, you have to have a tower fall before you can, you have to have a death before you can have a rebirth. You have to have a major event happen before you can have the destruction happen before you can have the creation. So, but without creation, you wouldn't have destruction. So it's the 0 and 1 concept. So another thing that we were talking about last time, which I don't really like to bring up a whole lot, but we actually have talked about a lot lately, is the election year and what does that mean. Last year I think I almost voted for Trump. And then I ended up choosing not to vote. Not saying whether or not I'm happy or sad about that. I haven't never voted before, and I don't have enough education in politics to even vote properly. So, um, but what does this year's election mean for us as Americans? And what does the world think about all of this? Because, as far as associated topics, because I'm pretty sure right now America is on stage for the rest of the world, and I feel like we're basically like puppets playing on this grand, like I said, stage that's just getting tomatoes thrown at us. Like I feel like that's where we're at right now. So I just, as far as election and presidency and like how all that entire topic is, I just feel like it's just a big nightmare. So, okay. But yeah, I'm not voting yet again. There's until I find that there's someone worth voting for. Um, and to be honest with you, like I really feel at this point like it really doesn't matter anymore. I feel like America has done, like, has shown the world so far that yes, we are a great presence in the world, but at the same time, like it's almost like celebrities and politics are on the same stage right now. To me, it's just a shit show. Um, and I don't know. We were talking earlier about like the possibilities of living in another country. What would it be different? How is it different in other countries compared to here? Like, I don't know. So that's why I try to learn as much as I can. Um, and ask a lot of questions. Don't be afraid to ask hard questions, even if it makes you feel kind of awkward. Because you're never gonna find an answer until you do, right? And then the last topic that I had written down was projects, but right now the project is currently still timelines, personal timeline, where you basically write your own personal timeline, like a strip, and each year has its own, like, maybe a pull down tab or something. I don't know if you do electronics or if you do paper, like a section or whatever. Maybe you could do one whole page of like each year of your life or something. I don't know. But where you do the timeline of your own personal life and certain achievements or whatever, and then you do the timeline of the world, or maybe even just your country or whatever, and just to see like the major events that happen in the world versus the timeline that you were alive. Like if you could just take out a section of your timeline of your own life out of the world's timeline and just look at the history during that time. It's really intriguing how much stuff has happened in your own timeline, like in your own life. And then what I like to do is I like to look at people who are older than me and younger than me for inspiration or for information. So this way I can see the changes that have happened over the decades and what is going on right now and the changes that are happening going forward into the future. Like say, for example, when my grandmother was alive, I would ask her questions about stuff that happened when she was younger to compare it to stuff that's happening now. And I always thought it was such a vast contrast in lifestyles, comparatively. And so like finding out your own personal history, even not just in your own personal timeline, maybe even prior to your own, and then going forward, it's really cool. You learn a lot. And you can also recognize cycles and patterns from people from your past, certain behavior patterns, maybe even thought processes. Say maybe if you had like some notebooks or something like that from someone from the past, you could see how the thought processes are similar to that of today, but they're not. It's like it's like the same person in a different year, in a different place, but at the same time, it's like at a baseline, we're all experiencing pretty much the same thing, and like firsthand at all times at the same time. Like right now, we're all experiencing the same exact thing on the same planet at the same time, at the same speed. It's kind of cool to me. Like, it's just we're experiencing the perspective differently, but we're all experiencing traveling on this planet, on this rock of a planet, thousands of miles an hour, hurtling through space, all at the same time. So I don't know. I just think about stuff like that. Okay, so next week, Today in History website review. Compare last week to this one in AP News. Check and answer questions brought up during the week. Well, I didn't bring anything up during the week, so other than some things about like weather, but I think, like I said, I'll probably get into that on a science day rather than a history day. But all right, so Today in History review. What happened on October 28th? St. Louis Gateway Arch is completed in 1965. Statue of Liberty was dedicated in 1886. Congress overrides presidential veto of the Volstead Act, ushering in Prohibition in 1919. Italy invades Greece during World War II in 1940. Nikita Khrushchev orders withdrawal of missiles from Cuba during the Cold War in 1962. President Bill Clinton signs the Digital Millennium Copyright Act into law in 1998. And the Leif Erikson Tunnel completes a 1,593-mile I-35 in 1992. That's pretty cool. All right. So next is AP News. Alright, I'm going to World First. Mideast Wars. The Israel-Hamas War. Oil prices fall as a reality of a weak global demand overtakes risk of wider war in the Middle East. Israel wants to shut down the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees. And what would that mean? Ship comes under suspected Yemen Houthi rebel attack in Bab el-Mandeb Strait off of the Red Sea. I'm sorry if I'm saying these words wrong. Y'all know me. I can't say words straight. Israel to vote on severely restricting UN agency that is a lifeline for Gaza. Middle East's latest is Israel says it's detained militants in Gaza hospital as airstrikes pound Tyre. Key mediator Egypt proposes a 2-day Gaza ceasefire and the release of 4 hostages. Analysis. Iran faces tough choices in deciding how to respond to Israeli strikes. Destruction of Lebanon-Syria border crossing in Israel airstrikes creates difficulties. Microsoft fires employees who organize a vigil for Palestinians killed in Gaza. In the Israeli-Hezbollah war, a Lebanese family held a Sunday gathering. An Israeli strike toppled their apartment building. An Israeli airstrike killed journalists covering the war in Lebanon as they slept. Massive displacement from Israel Hezbollah war transforms Beirut's famed commercial street. Israeli strikes pound Lebanese coastal city after residents evacuate. Iran faces tough choices in deciding how to respond to Israeli strikes. What is the Hezbollah-linked financial institution Israel is targeting in Lebanon? What's next for Hamas after its leader Yahya Sinwar's death? I can't say these people's names. Who is Yahya Sinwar, the Hamas leader Israel says it killed? Iranian German prisoner who lived in the United States, executed in Iran over terror conviction. Imprisoned Nobel Peace Prize laureate, hospitalized with severe health issues. Biden remarks, anniversary of Pittsburgh synagogue attacked. Satellite imagery shows damage from Israel attack at two secretive Iranian military bases. Foreign threats to the United States elections are on the rise and officials are moving faster to expose them. 5 things to know about Israelis' attack on Iran. Okay, so that's what they got in World Mideast. Russia-Ukrainian war. Trajectory of Ukraine's fight against Russia hangs on the outcome of the U.S. election. Russian forces thwart attempted cross-border assault from Ukraine. Vance calls Russia an American adversary but won't label Moscow as an enemy. Ukraine's Zelensky says North Korean troops are poised to join the war, cancels UN chief's visit. Putin ends BRICS summit that sought to expand Russia's global clout but was shadowed by Ukraine. Russia's freed dissidents. In a historical prisoner swap with the U.S. in the largest post-Soviet history, several of the Russian dissidents were released. Veteran human rights advocate freed in swap says Russia is sliding back towards Stalinist times. What's life like for Russia's political prisoners? Isolation, poor food, and arbitrary punishments. Russian artist released in swap builds a new life in Germany, now free to marry her partner. Freed Russian opposition activist Ilya Yashin, resuming work against Putin in his priority. How Putin's crackdown on dissent became the hallmark of Russian leaders' 24 years in power. Longest held Russian dissent, freed in swap, says colors get brighter by the day in his new life. There is more coverage of the war below that. I'm going to go on to the next one. If I can get it to work. Asian Pacific. Because I can kind of speak Spanish, but there's no point in me making it an entirely Spanish page. Okay. North Korea has sent about 10,000 troops to Russia to fight in Ukraine, Pentagon says. Pentagon spokeswoman Sabrina Singe says that North Korea has sent about 10,000 troops to Russia to train and fight in the Ukrainian war within the next several weeks. They're probably already there. AP explains that what does a shocking parliamentary loss for Japan's long-ruling party mean? Philippine ex-president Duterte, I think, says he kept a death squad as mayor to kill criminals. Resistant forces push military regime close to brink in Myanmar. Myanmar's civil war reshaped in the past year with coordinated offensive by powerful resistance groups. A Thai court drops a case over the deaths of Muslim protesters in 2004. The leaders of India and Spain launch India's first private military aircraft plant. Pakistani human rights activists condemned arrests of lawyers on charges of creating a security risk. Pakistan begins another vaccination campaign after a worrying surge in polio cases. Parties loyal to Uzbekistan's president win parliament seats in election devoid of real opposition. Woman charged with assaulting Australian senator who shouted at the king. And polls close at Uzbekistan's parliamentary election held without real opposition. Americans in Puerto Rico cannot vote for U.S. president. Their anger at Trump is shaping the race. Non-voters with big influences. No, hold on, let me go back. Okay. So all this information is coming from AP News, by the way, if you're wanting to find out what it is that I'm talking about. Let me go to China next. I'm skipping over a couple of them, like the politics stuff. Interesting. In China, state alien land laws drive some China-born U.S. citizens to rethink their politics. Foreign threats to the U.S. election are on the rise. Chinese hackers targeted phones of Trump, Vance, people associated with Harris' campaign. Australia leader rejects Beijing's claims that his country is rife with racism and hate crimes. Japanese PM reiterates commitment to defense after party's election loss. Japanese Prime Minister Ishiba reiterated Monday that his commitment to improving Japan's defense capabilities a day after his ruling coalition lost a majority in the 465-seat lower house in a key parliamentary election. IFM chief warns that world risks following the slow growth rut and urges China to enact reforms. Indonesia says its coast guard drove away Chinese ship that interrupted the survey in a disputed sea. India's Modi and Chinese President Xi meet days after a border accord between the countries. China was deported a VW executive for allegedly using drugs while in Thailand. GM shares post biggest percentage gain in over 4 years as company reports $3 billion profit in the third quarter. And that was after the strike, wasn't it? China and Vatican agree to extend an agreement on appointing bishops. Taiwan rejects South African demand to move its representative office from capital. Gunmen kill 7 people working on a strategic tunnel project in Indian-controlled Kashmir. And a week after China's war games, U.S. and Canadian warships sail through Taiwan Strait. Serbia's president thanks Putin for gas supplies and vows he'll never impose sanctions on Russia. I remember that last week, actually. I think I'm rereading stuff. Yeah, it's going back to the 20th. So, yeah. That is your today's news in the world. What about the U.S.? Quarter pounder back on the menu after testing ruled out beef patties as E. coli source. When and where to watch the voting. Voters concerned about post-election violence and efforts to overturn the results. Americans in Puerto Rico can't vote. These are artificial reefs off of a New York City beach help secret. Hundreds of ballots are destroyed after fires are set in ballot drop boxes in Oregon and Washington. So they're gonna already they're gonna have to start over. They're gonna have to start over because the ballots were already destroyed. So there's no way to know who voted in that moment. So they're gonna have to start over. This is why I don't vote. There's another reason why I don't vote because across the bottom of the AP News, they do have the topics of abortion, LGBTQ plus, any kind of shootings, and immigration laws. It does kind of repeat a lot of the stuff that I just was talking about. Some of them. So I'm not going to go through that. But yeah, if you guys want to go check it out, there's always, new stuff all the time up there. I actually did apply recently to a newspaper company near here, which was kind of cool. I thought that would be neat, but it already got filled, so not a big deal. Where am I at here? I know I kind of just blew through all those topics, but I kind of wanted to knock it out of the park here. Yeah, for the other ones, elections, politics, sports, I don't really ever talk about sports. The other stuff like science and business. So, one of the things in Today in History that was interesting. I have family in St. Louis. It's funny. Is a digital millennium a copyright act still a law, or is that is that even still active? It's like everything I click on has to have an ad with it. This is just the History Channel. Yeah, the History Channel and AP News are usually the two that I go to. They seem to have, so far that I've seen, and if I'm wrong, let me know, the most informative, and I feel fairly accurate. Says this day in history video, what happened on October 28th, but then you click on it, nothing happens. The Industrial Revolution. Yeah, I can't click on anything here without an ad being here. Alright. I was going to click on the Statue of Liberty being dedicated. I thought that would be kind of a cool topic. So let me just type it in, evidently. Because I'm lazy. Liberty. Hey, you can buy her for $14 with a Groupon. Just kidding, it's just a statue. All right. All right, so statue, a new ferry location at the Battery. Awesome. Take a ranger. A ranger for the Statue of Liberty? There's no trees. Confused. Okay. Visit. Oh, you can go back up to the crown now? Or was that the flames you can't go to? Oh, you have to have reservations. That'd be kind of cool. Go to the Statue of Liberty. We've gone, me and the kids have gone to pretty much every lighthouse on the North Carolina coast. We did like a little family trip thing. Well, except for the ferry, wherever you go, I think it's like Ocracoke. We didn't get to Ocracoke. But yes, I don't feel like it's much different than a light tower. It's just shaped different. Feels like. I don't know why they don't just... That's kind of cool. They have like this big spiral staircase that goes up through the center. Double helix spiral staircase. Yeah. Acrophobia and vertigo, claustrophobia, any kind of mobile impairments, respiratory conditions, or heart conditions are not allowed to go up because it's such like an enclosed area. Maximum of 4 tickets allowed per order and have to happen within a 6-month period. Children have to be at least 42 inches tall and must have reservations with their names on the ticket. Tickets are non-transferable. Each ticket holder required to show photo ID. Crown visits are limited to 10 minutes. So even though you get a ticket, right, you go all the way up to the top, you can only be in the top for 10 minutes. Does that include the 162 stairs? Because there's no elevator? So they're like, hurry up and climb up. You only got 10 minutes. Or do you get 10 minutes when you're at the top? And I still feel like there's not... It must echo so much in there. Because you think there's people going up and down. Right? So, yeah, they would have to go in teams. I wonder what the weight limit is for those stairs. That's crazy. I was thinking maybe there's like a whole line of people. And like maybe there's like 2 sets of stairs. And like people are walking up, taking a few pictures, walking, and then going back down the other side. That would make it a lot smoother of a transition, but that's not going to happen because it looks like inside of the Statue of Liberty is really small. I'm pretty sure that somebody could make 2 sets of stairs in there. Anyway. Restricted items. Purses, backpacks, fanny packs, camera bags, tripods, keys, wiring, instruments, umbrellas, shopping bags, foods, or drinks, except for water in a plastic bottle and any other item that may progress on the stairs. Lockers are located to the secondary screening, require a 25-cent deposit. Quarters only. So for those of you who don't carry change, okay. Yeah, if you're in a wheelchair, it's like not accessible. There's no elevator. Oh wait, yes there is an elevator. What? Okay, so inside the crown area, it looks like there's only like not even like 3 or 4 foot standing area to look out the crown. One cell phone or camera for pictures and per person. A water bottle and any kind of medication. And that's all you can bring up there. That's it. You have to have reservations 4 to 6 months in advance to go to the tower or to the crown. The crown is, yeah, it's 162 stairs. Each step is 9 inches from height, 8 inches in length. One section is standing up to the other side is descending down, allows safer flow of visitor traffic. Okay, so that's what I thought. I thought it had, it's a double helix. Yeah, so you have a constant flow of people walking up and down these stairs inside of a metal building. And it's, I just couldn't imagine how loud this would be. So yeah. If y'all have any like information, or if you guys have ever gone there or would like to go there, let me know. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, today is the anniversary of the Statue of Liberty being erected. I wonder, being the fact that it was, I think, wasn't it copper? Wasn't it made of copper? £62,000 of copper. Three and 32 inch, 2.4 millimeters thick, 3/30 seconds. And just to think that it like gets oxidized like every single day just from being there by the ocean. I wonder how much it would be worth to just like, how much would it be worth in copper? Oh, $200,000. It's really not even. You can't even buy a big house like that. Could you imagine somebody steals the Statue of Liberty and goes and buys a house? What are we doing today? We're gonna go steal the Statue of Liberty and buy a house. They had to build that thing. I couldn't imagine. I guess the weather out there is not too terribly bad. It's pretty mild. Just the day pass is $154. $32 a person for a boat tour. Can you imagine? That's not even, that doesn't even sound right. It sounds like it's cheap for that. I wonder how many pennies they could get out of the Statue of Liberty. $11.2 billion pennies. Cannot be directly produced pennies since pennies are made out of copper zinc alloy. However, if hypothetically the statue's copper could be converted to the penny alloy, about 11.2 billion pennies could be made. So wait, that doesn't make any sense. I don't even think I could do the math on that. I don't know.